welcome back to Navigating the Unknown. I'm Andrea Stern of SternRep and AskSternRep, and my new website, AskSternRep.com. In these webinars, we cover the topics that shape your career as a photographer. Thank you, APA LA, for making this happen. Thank you, APA. Today, we are excited to continue from our last conversation. This is part 2, which does feel like part 23 of the Photographer's Guide to Effective Marketing with our dynamic duo consultants, Amy and Julie. It does feel like a talk show, Amy and Julie show. You get advice. I'm going to tell you more about my co-host, Hugh Kretschmer, LA photographer and APA LA board member. Hi, Hugh.
Hi.
And our guests are Amy V. Cooper and Julie Skarwecki to continue the conversation. Let me turn to Hugh first. Hi, Hugh.
Hi, everyone. I'm so grateful to be here. Episode 19. I can't believe we're here already. But the conversation continues, right? I'm just so happy to be here and grateful for all of you. And thank you, Andrea, for doing this. I've been an APA board member for about 4 years now. I love being on this panel, being on this board. There's so many great things that we're doing. And we're able to come together and bring you presentations like this. And thank you, our esteemed guests. I don't know how many, this is the 4th or 5th time you guys have been here? 5th time.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a big audience that wants you back, and there's so much information you guys are providing. So thank you for sharing. And I turn it back to you.
So our 2 guests, Amy V. Cooper is you. I'm sure they can see where I'm pointing, is one of the top photography consultants in the US with over 20 years of experience working as a professional photographer, photo editor, ad agency art buyer, and as a photography agent. She has a unique experience of having been on every possible side of the camera with a variety of clients, including UPS, Microsoft, Mary Kay, Coca-Cola, Netflix, Teen Vogue, Esquire, many, many more brands. And Julie Skarwecki is a consultant specializing in helping artists define their personal brands, strengthening their portfolios, connect with photo editors and art buyers, and successfully target their ideal clients using strategic marketing and promotional tactics. She has over 10 years of experience in the photography industry, including being a photography agent and consultant. She has worked with photographers and illustrators with client lists that include Amazon, Facebook, Coca-Cola, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, Instagram, Gatorade, and so many more. All right, you two, you're back. You're ready.
Thank you for having us.
My pleasure. Yeah. You must know at this point that I really like you and I like what you say.
We like you too.
Oh, wow. So attendees, you are a major part of this webinar and we always want all of your questions. Keep them coming in throughout, but please do put the questions in the Q&A area, not the chat area. Thank you for us. Remember to join Hugh and I at the end of this discussion because we like to stay on at the end and have our own little wrap chat for a few minutes. And so stay with us afterward. Before I begin, something I have to say about the benefits of joining APA. In my opinion, as a rep, one of the benefits is worth all of it. And that one is you get to attend members only portfolio reviews. That is golden. That's a gift. It's worth it. So Hugh will tell us more about this later. I just had to throw in there as I'm a huge APA fan in general and LA. Patty, the shining star, our director of APA LA, will add info into the chat about becoming a member. So we have like some benefit. We have some bonuses for you, some discounts coming up.
We have an announcement about that at the end. So,
at the end, we also have a special promotion from Amy for her masterclass. So stay tuned, folks. Our topic of marketing never seems to end because it's ever changing to find ways of getting your work seen and remembered. This is our 5th webinar discussion about this. As you see, the conversation has so much meat on the bones. Those 4 episodes It is number 12, 13, 14, and 18 are all on YouTube for AskSternRep and YouTube for APA. So you can go on there and subscribe. Photographers can create their effective marketing plans, and we're going to dig more into that today. At the end of this episode, we'll have special lightning round Q&As. Very quick. We're going to answer great questions. All the questions have come from you all. I have to say a little teaser here. I saved our final lightning round question to introduce advice from SternRep's very own social media guru, Rainey Vespi. Stay around for her perspective. Today, we are going to cover topics like networking. Again, we're going to just dig into that a little more. SEO, online paid resources, directories, CRMs, the attitude we all need to take with Instagram, and the main character syndrome that people are struggling with. Actually, I have a nice quote from Mary Dale from Big Leo Productions. She's a rep. She shared something with us. And then our lightning round questions. Let me begin with one of the topics I have a hard time finding words for, because to me, it's like the air I breathe. I don't know how to separate it out, and that's networking. And I bring up this topic because it's it's like a key component for every photographer. And I know we have talked about this before, but I wanted to touch it more about it again. And to me, it's the same as marketing. How is networking different than marketing? What do you think?
Well, I think networking is a part of marketing, right? It's just in-person marketing or, one-on-one marketing to an individual instead of, maybe sending out a newsletter or something that's more broad. And that type of marketing actually has the highest return on investment. So that is something that people should be thinking about in terms of their overall marketing strategy as being a place to get just a great return on very little time.
But isn't it the same? Like, isn't that what we're doing with everything?
I think it's
network. Yeah, go on, Hugh.
Isn't it more personal? I mean, this is where your personality comes into play. You're connecting personally to this person through networking rather than through the filter of the computer or a postcard. Mm-hmm. I think it's just something a little bit deeper. But Amy, do you have any thoughts?
I think it can feel like now, especially since it feels like we're all our own personal brand, that any kind of networking is marketing for ourselves. But yes, I agree with Julie. It's the most important part of your marketing. And networking can be, connecting with someone on social media. It can be going out for coffee. It can be asking someone to do an email introduction. There are so many different ways to do it, and it's incredibly important.
One big question I have is how does networking fit into a photographer's marketing plan? And I ask this, Amy, I heard you discuss your masterclass on Joni Simon's The Bite Shot YouTube interview, which is so good, impactful. How you had said a photographer's marketing plan depends on their market and what they are comfortable with. I agree so much with that. And I base the same ideology about their comfort levels on my marketing plan pyramid chart that I showed last time. Photographers do need to have a comfort level with their own networking and entire marketing plan to make it work. I've seen photographers try new ways to discover what they are comfortable with. Reminds me of myself doing this right now. I mean, I didn't just start and be like, oh, I'm so comfortable with that. No way.
Networking is a muscle. It's just like picking up a camera. I mean, you're not going to understand all of the buttons when you first pick up that camera, but the more you pick it up, the easier it gets. It's the same thing with networking. You can say you're bad at it. You can say you're an introvert, but if you keep trying and trying, you'll get great at it. And I agree with you, Andrea. I used to hate going to networking events, even just thinking about them. And I just, take it step by step, go to a networking event for 5 minutes, and the next one go for 10 minutes, and the next one go for 15 minutes. or in whatever the networking part of your marketing plan is. Just start with a little bit and you'll get stronger at it. It'll get easier. It'll get more fun.
I'm just wondering if, like, when I go in, if this is a good suggestion, like the idea of going in without expectations, maybe not even talking about photography or the business when you're personally networking with someone, right? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I love that, because then it's like you're really just showing up as
Yeah.
you, which is what we're all trying to sell. You.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever I go to a networking event, I set an intention before I get there. And that intention might be, I'm going to find a great parking spot. I'm going to meet one person and I'm going to find a comfortable place to sit. I'm not going to go into a networking event saying, I'm going to meet my dream client. They're going to book me for a shoot next week. That's too much. It's too much to take on. It's too stressful. So yeah, keeping it small and being curious, and just, you don't have to go into networking feeling like you're selling yourself. It's not sales. Just go and be curious about other people. And that takes a lot of the pressure off.
Yeah. Yeah. And I loved your priority list there. Parking space first, right? Yeah. I get it. I get it.
I'm seeing a real shift in marketing strategies right now to be even more findable. That's what I'm calling it, just findable. We can definitely set our sights on specific clients, do the research, engage, but we must add the marketing that puts ourselves out there in the right places to be found. I can tell you clients are somehow finding me as I get requests from places and agencies, clients I didn't know of before, and they don't know me. So they're finding me. There are several ways to do this, but the top of my list is SEO, search engine optimization. I've found ways to create this on my website to incorporate keyword searches. Without this, we are missing out and cutting ourselves short. Do you guys, how do you incorporate SEO into what you talk to photographers about?
I work with a lot of photographers on SEO specifically. And one of the things that I offer is also a marketing audit and plan together, where we kind of review a photographer's basically all areas of their business, including portfolios and website and their marketing practices. And SEO does fit into that. And I think a lot of people aren't expecting that as a photographer. I think it's surprising to a lot of people that clients do sometimes find people just by Googling them. And there is also a lot of opportunity there because photographers make their own websites and most people don't really have the SEO set up yet, or they aren't really sure what they're doing, but they're all mostly made by individuals or a company that's setting it up for you. So it's very easy to set up your SEO so that you're searchable. It's something that you can do on pretty much any website hosting program, Squarespace or WordPress. It's stuff that you can do by yourself. And just putting in the time, an hour or two when you have time to work on this part of your marketing can have a huge effect on how many people are finding you and on who's finding you. So unlike with Instagram or your newsletter list, the people who would find you by searching for you on Google, they're searching because they don't know who you are, right? They're not looking for you as a person. They're looking for a food photographer in LA. And if you can have your SEO set up so that they find you that way, you're bringing in people that have no idea who you are, which is hugely valuable just in terms of your marketing in general.
Mm.
Definitely. We did get a question. What are top 3 tips for harnessing the power of SEO? And I did ask my SEO person who, Patty, if you will please put this in the chat. I asked her name is Susan Sheck, Susan at SheckSEO.com or SheckSEO.com. Her top 3, how we should do this: use Google business page, number 1. Research popular keywords and use on your website. And then the 3rd, write blogs. I find that very valuable. And it just does surprise me how many photographers don't do SEO when so much of today is about being findable, because we can't find all these new people that are hiring photographers.
I'm totally guilty of that. I am totally guilty of that. and I'm just learning about them.
Hmm.
So I'm fessing up right here, right now. All right. So I'm going to be quiet during this conversation because I'm soaking it in. I just
And
really appreciate it.
SEO is so easy. It's so easy. You don't have to put your makeup on. It can work really quickly. The things for photographers to remember about SEO is to use those literal keywords and put yourself in the shoes of a photo editor or an art buyer. What words are they looking to find someone like you? They're probably not searching your name. They're probably not searching DSC_1435, your file name. So get really literal with that. When I started my agency, I had a fashion photographer in Dallas, and I named all of her file names Dallas_fashion_photographer_ some other thing. And she came up in Google image search as the top search result within a month of me doing that. So it can be very fast. It can be very effective. It's not going to work as well for some photographers as others. So it's definitely going to work a lot better for people in smaller markets, but it still can be effective for bigger markets. Big fan of SEO.
When you said underscore
or dash.
Why an underscore or dash?
Just to separate. I mean, I don't have the science on that. It could just be Dallas fashion photographer. Julie, do you have it?
Yeah. So Google, when it's searching, so what you're talking about in like file names, so your image names, whichever one should be updating when they update their SEO. You want the image file name itself to include your keywords because images are searchable in Google. But Google can't tell the difference. Like if you have it all pressed together as one word, Dallas fashion photographer, Google, it doesn't know where those word breaks are. So you have to put something in. And that's why she's saying underscore. Actually, underscore, it should be a dash instead of an underscore because an underscore is like will rank you lower in Google for some reason. That I don't know why. It just it does. But Amy makes some great points that I really love because this comes up with a lot of my clients that they, we'll sort of be talking and it's like, okay, well, update this, this, and this, include keywords. And then they'll come back and they'll say, well, it's not working. And the reason is because the keywords they're using are describing what's in the image, not describing or not catering to their client. And so that Amy makes a great point. You want to use industry terms like fashion, photographer, commercial, advertising, food, portrait, whatever they may be. Not necessarily like photo of salad, right? Like the people who are hiring you aren't searching for a photo of a salad. They're searching for a photographer. So using that when you go in and add in those keywords on your website and as your file names, that ends up, in my experience, making a big difference when people kind of realize that switch needs to be made.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the screenshot I just took, but Stephen Austin Welsh just posted a nice link. So thank you, Stephen. I'm going to look into that myself. I appreciate it.
What's the link?
It's about Google likes dashes. So yeah, so it's a
really
blog
helpful.
about dashes. Great.
Hey, Julie, I felt like you could have dropped the mic on some stuff you just said. That was good.
I just love SEO. I think it's so it is so underrated. Like Amy said, if you set it up, like it doesn't happen overnight, but in a month or two, you will start to see results. And it's just something that everyone can do on their own to a certain extent. Like we're not operating huge websites with hundreds of pages and different complex information and data. Like it's just a photography website. It's all stuff that you can do on your own. And it does have a difference.
Or you can hire Susan the way I did.
You could, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, it works. It's weird to me.
It does.
There's so much. The whole point of our marketing is to find some ways to control all the work we're putting out there. Like we want some control over this. Do you have any other suggestions for photographers to do their marketing to be more findable? Like how do we just get found? We're not in a control situation where we can go find them.
I think to that point of using literal keywords, remember that when you're hashtagging on Instagram, because I see my photographers using a lot of trending hashtags for what it is that they're posting, but think about what the editors are searching for. So if a photo editor is looking for a food photographer in Tennessee, they're not searching hashtag feed. They're searching Memphis food photographer. Did I say Memphis or Nashville? Yeah. So again, put yourself in the shoes of those editors and art buyers.
Mm-hmm. Really good point. Hashtags. Because that is how they search. Yeah, we have to know how they search, and we have to show up and be searchable. We do have a question that touches on one way to be findable, and it's about source books. I'd like to learn more about source books. What should I look for when choosing one? Amy, I know you did your review on this on your website. What did you learn about it?
So I did 2 very big reports on source books, and I interviewed my clients about which ones they were using, which ones they were happy with. I went on all the websites, I looked at the pricing, I interviewed the people who own the source books. So if you go on my blog, or if you go on a photo editor and search for source directories, source books, photo directories, you should be able to find the report on there. And it's also a big part of my masterclass as well. So different source books are going to be better for certain photographers based on what you shoot and, in my opinion, what region you're in. Because some source books are based on the East Coast and some are on the West Coast. And while it may seem like they would be good for anyone, we know that those people are in those areas. They know people in those areas. So I would say to photographers, first of all, it's hit or miss for everyone. It really is. If, you know, I have some photographers who say, if you can be in all of them, if you can afford to be in all of them, be in all of them, because then you'll be findable in a whole bunch of different places. But do your research, look at that report, and also reach out to other photographers who you see in those directories that are either in a similar location that you are or shooting similar things, and ask them what their experience has been. So I really love this idea of like, reach out to other people who are using it, get their opinion, see what the results are. Also ask yourself, are you willing to track your analytics? That's another thing. Some people sign up for these things and they say, I'm not getting anything from it, but they're also not paying attention to their analytics, and they're not asking their clients where they are finding them. So, man, we could have a whole webinar on this topic. But do your research, and also understand that these source books are changing, and hold them accountable for what they're promising you. Ask them for their stats. If they're not willing to give you any information on page clicks, that might be a red flag. So really grill them on what they're offering you. But I am really excited to see how some of these source books are changing and evolving. I think they're evolving in the same way that consultants and reps are evolving in the way that they're offering new things to photographers. My last couple of reports, I felt like Wonderful Machine has been very popular with my clients, and I know they're offering some really exciting new things to their photographers. And some of those things you may have to pay additional fees for, but some of these source books are acting as almost as reps now, temporary reps, doing bids, doing your marketing for you. It's really interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of growth in that. And I got to agree with you. And Wonderful Machine is really impressing me. It used to be, in my mind, if you didn't have a rep, you go on Wonderful Machine. So it was just people who could not get a rep, not very, it's not a great way to sell yourself. But I think now it's not that. It's for everybody. It's for rep photographers. It's for every quality, every level that you're at. I'm not doing sales for them, but I'm very impressed.
Oh, and we have to mention the APA source book.
That's true.
Yes.
And also, what is their reach? How many people are they actually reaching? Isn't that a big part of that too? I've been approached before where, they have said, I've got the greatest reach than any other source book or any other portal. But then when I asked what they were planning to do with me, in other words, what could they offer me individually, I got silence. So I don't know, it felt like they were relying only on their numbers rather than, what a personal service can you provide me?
Like Hugh, can you name one or two things that you were that you wanted to hear from them?
Yeah. Are you going to promote me on your newsletter? Are you going to do a separate, you do your weekly newsletter, or are you going to put me at the top of your website, at least for a period of time?
Right.
Social media, what are these little details that I want to find out, I want to know more about. That person was just touting numbers. And then when it came down to the nitty gritty, I didn't get the information that I was looking for. So I agree, do your research and talk to other people.
And you have to be the squeaky wheel. With some of these, it's not hands off. You have to check in with them and say, hey, can you share this thing I just did? Yeah.
Yeah.
I do list them on my website, AskSternRep.com. I sound like a commercial. Search for source books, and there's some info on them. To me, how I see it, they all offer different benefits or strategies and pricing. They're all a bit different, unique. So I look at them for the types of photographers that are on their websites, and we have to kind of fit into that mold of photographers to make sure we're in good company. You want to make sure you're on the right, if you're a wedding photographer, you do different things. What benefits they offer. Several have one-on-one portfolio showings, just like APA. And Wonderful Machine, they offer a long list of helpful options. So you got to see what else they offer you. And then I like to check my analytics, like Amy, like you were saying, to see where our website views are coming from. You can easily tell if it's working. Yeah. Amy, you did a review on these. Oh, you talked about that. Sorry, I'm going to skip that. I didn't know you did two. Why did you do two?
I did one in 2019. That was my first big juicy one. And then I felt like I needed to see how things had changed with COVID. And I really felt like I needed my audience to understand which of these directories were really doing their part to support them during COVID.
Okay, I need to go look at that. I didn't see that one. Any other tips for this decision process that you guys, it's a big investment. Do you know what the range of the cost is? Well, I don't really know.
The other thing too is that, if you have an agent, sometimes they can pull leverage, because if they get multiple people signing up, then the discount rate can apply, from my understanding. So, and I'm wondering if you can pull together 4 other photographers or 3 other photographers. You can go as a cluster and try to get a discount for all you.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
I will say that there are also some there are benefits, I think, to source books that we might not always see, depending on how you're using them and what they are. So obviously don't just I wouldn't advise anyone to just sign up for all of them willy-nilly. I get, like Amy said, if you have the resources, sure, go for it. But to go back to SEO, there is also another important part of SEO, which is backlinks. And that's just other things linking to your website. So in theory, having your website linked on a different one that is relevant to what your website is about. So a source book is, they're for photographers. If it links to a photography website, Google will recognize that and will, put you higher in the listings. You have to have a lot of them, obviously, but that's sort of another hidden benefit. Also, kind of like Amy said, we don't always know where a client found you. A lot of people don't ask where the client found them. And there's also a lot that goes into a client's decision to reach out to you for a project. And sometimes, a big part of marketing is building trust, consumer trust. A lot of the time you can see that that's happening in areas where you're not really getting that direct feed. You're not really sure of what that would be. But, a client, let's say they find you on Instagram, they still have to look at your website. And if they look at your website, maybe you have a link to, Found or Wonderful Machine, something, maybe they go there and then they look around and they see maybe just even a different edit of your work, or it just helps to build trust with them that you are like a professional photographer at a certain level. So there are benefits that can come with just being on these other platforms that maybe aren't as obvious as like getting a job directly through any of them.
That's a really good point, because we don't hear every reason what went into their decision to choose you, to bid you.
Yeah, and it's not just one, like we said, like someone who finds you on Instagram, they're still going to your website, right? Like, that someone's not going to just reach out to you based on like the one printed promo that you sent them 2 years ago, or the one email newsletter you sent. Like, they're looking at everything that you're doing. So kind of keep that in mind. If you do have the resources, if you feel like they are offering something that feels beneficial to you, I would say try out, one of them that feels right. You connect with the salesperson you're talking to, give it a try for a year and kind of see where things go, just in terms of your like, general career.
Yeah, it feels like the piece
point
of the pie of the marketing plan. Yeah, Amy?
I think that's such a great point that Julie makes, aside from just those click-throughs, is that for some of these directories, clients will come to the directory and say, hey, we have this project. Can you recommend 5 or 6 photographers for us to look at? So they're doing that work. That's another reason to be the squeaky wheel, to check in, to be friendly with the people who are helping you with your listing. So you're top of their mind as well, because they will refer you to other people for jobs.
That's great. And probably the more new images you're posting on there, the more activity you get.
Well, it sounds to me that's part of networking also, is getting to know your salesperson at your source book, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know at least one person I've spoken to from Wonderful Machine who does like directly reach out on photographers' behalf, and will send them to clients.
Yeah, I often get
Okay.
requests to meet photographers through them. It does seem like a wide range. It's growing, these source books, these paid source books.
Yeah.
So CRMs, customer relationship management. Julie, you brought this up on our episode 14. You said proper CRM to schedule how often you have reached out, and then you want to reach out again. This week, 5 new clients on LinkedIn, and also 5 people from the past type of setup system. Like, you helped set up the system for the CRM. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so a CRM is great because it helps you just keep track of how often you're coming into contact with past or potential clients. A lot of people will use like a Google spreadsheet, maybe something like that, to get started. And that's totally fine if you want to, but there are free CRMs that you can use. So I would say just do that. Basically what you want to think of it as is a way to keep track of how often you're interacting with these potential clients and past clients. And making sure that you are staying on their radar, basically. So a CRM will do that. It will allow you to keep track of the emails that you sent them. A lot of them will just send you an update, like, you haven't emailed this person in 3 months, or, you haven't like had a project with this past client in 6 months, and then you can take the initiative then to follow up. And it's just a great way, because I know we've talked about this on the past webinars. A lot of marketing, what makes it effective is consistency. It's staying in front of people. Your main goal is to really be top of mind to people, so that when a project comes in for you, they think of you, or they find your newsletter in their inbox, in that folder that they're keeping. They have your promo pinned above their desk. This is kind of just a way to keep track, to make sure that you are staying in front of people in a consistent way and not just sort of falling off of their radar. And the more, I would say, for people who are just starting off, stick with the spreadsheet. It's fine. At a certain point, though, you're going to have so many people that you've come in contact with. There's so many people on your Instagram, so many past clients, so many people who have signed up for your newsletter on your website, and you want to be able to keep track of them. Otherwise, it's just a big missed opportunity. So someone that you met at a networking event, let's say, you can go home, add them into your CRM. Maybe you put an alert so that in 3 months, you follow up with them specifically. and reach out, share some new work that, you know, you think would be relevant, and just kind of continue to get in front of them in a consistent way.
There is a question about CRMs, if you guys are open.
Yeah, go for it.
Are there free CRM tools you would recommend? This is from Carly.
I see that I'm typing in right now. My recommendation is HubSpot. They have a really good free version that allows you to import contacts. You can segment your list, and this is another great way to use them also. So just as an example, let's say you're a photographer who shoots, I don't know who does this, automotive and food. So these two very different things. So your marketing materials that you send out, you're not going to want to send the same thing to all of those clients, right? Your food clients don't want to see cars. Your automotive clients don't want to see like table lays. So what you can do with a CRM is you can segment people into lists. You can either add a tag, or you can create, I think in HubSpot, you just make a list, then you can add people into it. And then that way, when you go to send out, you know, a marketing email, a printed promo, something like that, you can just refer to that list for the people who want to see that type of material from you, instead of just kind of sending everything to everyone, when that might actually be more of a turnoff than a benefit to your marketing.
Yeah, I deal with that a lot because I do rep automotive and food. I have to be very specific who I'm, you know, I have different lists, so I have to use one.
Yeah.
I get a lot of questions on my Facebook AskSternRep group, and here's one question: CRMs. When it comes to client management, and specifically CRMs, I've encountered difficulty finding a solution that isn't wedding or retail photography related. Mm-hmm. Using these tools for commercial purposes is cumbersome and not client friendly. Is there a platform you've seen that and used prominently within the commercial world?
So this question has been plaguing me for like 5 years, probably. At the agency, when we set ours up, we kind of ran into this problem as well, that most of these are set up for, they're really set up for sales. Like that's kind of what you're going to see with a lot of them, is that you do have to make some adjustments. That's why I like HubSpot so much, because the version that you can get for free, or I mean, obviously you can upgrade if you want, but it is really like customer or like client relationship based, so that you can use all of those tools to track your interactions with people, but you aren't necessarily having to put them into like a funnel. And a lot of the CRMs, that's what they want. They want you to think of people as like somewhere in the purchasing journey, and that's just not really how commercial photography works. Like, you know, again, you want people to think of you when a project comes in, but it's not like you're soft pitching people constantly to try and like win their business. Like it's just not, it doesn't really work that way. Anyone who wants to like team up with me and we can make one for photographers, like I'm available. I've got some thoughts on this, but as of right now, you are going to have to like kind of adjust it to the business, because there just doesn't exist anything right now.
Are there any others you like, Julie?
HubSpot is my favorite. I've tried a bunch of them, and that one definitely I think is the most useful for what I would advise photographers to use it for. Other ones, like if you are going to rely on something that is that like sort of sales driven program, it can be good if you want to start categorizing potential clients into like, you know, a cold lead, warm lead, and a hot lead somehow, which could just be a way that you start to think of the marketing journey that you're putting people into. I know that Pipe Drive is really popular, and that's another one, kind of what I just said. If it's easier for you to think of people as being somewhere on a sales journey, that's one that would work really well. If you just want to be using it to keep in touch with your clients, which is what I would recommend, HubSpot is a great choice.
I use direct mail, but I don't feel like I know enough and have tried enough to say my opinion on that.
Yeah, there are some that have a feature that I really like, and they call it different things on different programs, but it'll be called something like a Smart Finder or something like that. And it's basically where you can add someone in I can't remember if it's like you add them in by the email address or by social media, but it'll basically pull all of the information that the program can find about that person from the internet. So like you could click the button and then it would add their LinkedIn profile and their, you know.
Oh, that's smart.
I love that.
Yeah. Pipedrive has that feature. HubSpot, the free version, does not. So again, you're going to get, there's like pros and cons to all of these. They're all going to need like some you're going to have to adjust to the program a little bit. But yeah, there's different features that they all offer. I would say just kind of, I think what's more important is finding something that feels intuitive for you to use, because they do all function slightly differently. And some of them you go into and you're like, I don't even know what, like, this makes no sense to me. Other ones feel very intuitive. And I think that's really just like a personal choice.
Something I want to bring up now is the attitude of Instagram. It's something to talk about, and also connects to this idea of being findable that I was talking about. So much of our marketing now is about creating our own content. You two are also needing to do this for your own marketing, as I am for SternRep and AskSternRep, and Hugh, you too. So it's a mainstay of our jobs, and leads us to this next term. You defined this, Amy, on our Clubhouse last month, main character syndrome that people are struggling with. I like that you're smiling because it's hard, right? Can you explain this to us? And then I want to share what Rep Mary Dale, a big Leo, texted me about this. But go on, Amy, tell us.
Right. So main character syndrome is this idea that you are the main character in the show of your life, and the things that you post have to have this main character drama to them or importance to them, that you constantly need to be posting things that are, you know, exciting or whatever. I don't really see this too much. I don't see it with my clients because it's really more about their content than their personality. But it's so fascinating the way things are evolving with social media. So that's why we brought that up. But I mean, I think that it is great. Instagram is a great tool to showcase your personality. I think that your clients are going to Instagram to get a feel for what it would be like to work with you. So posting some things of yourself behind the scenes, things like that, can be really good. But I don't think it needs to be like the everyday cameras on you show for commercial photographers anyway. But I'm curious to hear what Mary Dale has to say.
Oh, before we jump into that, I just want to, do you think photographers don't need to be the main character? That syndrome, they don't need to do that?
No, I don't. I mean, unless you're wanting to get hired as an influencer, which we've talked about this before, is a completely different business model than being hired for your professional photography. No, I don't want to see you hanging out with your cats every day. I want to see what you're doing on set. Are you being professional? Are you giving your clients a good experience? Are you being safe? Things like that.
My cat just jumped on my lap the minute you said that.
I mean, I do want to see your cat once or twice.
Once or twice.
I know if you're a cat person, but I don't want it to be like, you know, the Andrea and her cat show every day, which it's not.
Right.
So Amy, are you saying it's quality versus quantity? Is that the general message you're talking about?
I think the ratio that we've brought up before is maybe 20% personal, but keep it to like 80% professional.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I'm a little like, well, I hear you, but I have felt in order to do what I'm doing, I do have to put myself out there personally. I don't know a way around that. Maybe I'm suffering from this main character syndrome.
But your business model is a little bit different than, you know, a food photographer.
I try to push all my photographers into doing what I'm doing, this type of thing. There's a real resistance. Julie, do you hear this resistance from photographers?
A resistance to sharing more personal content.
Yeah, putting even on themselves, like hold the camera here, talk.
Yeah, sometimes I think that that's so the 80-20 ratio is usually what I recommend as well. But I actually think clients do want to see, like, they want to know who you are as a person. They want to get a vibe for your personality. Especially because, like, if you're going to be on set with someone for 10 hours, like, they can't be miserable, you know, you're not going to get hired back. Like, there is a lot of personality that goes into the choice to hire a photographer. So people do want to see, like, some of that. But it should be a professional account. So, you know, you do want to keep it to a minimum. And what I always try to advise people to do also is, whatever personal content you're sharing, like, let's try to make sure that it somehow does tie into your work or who you are as a professional. So if you are a food photographer primarily, like, of course, send me photos of you, like, out trying this new restaurant or something, you know, like, that makes sense to me. I don't necessarily want to see you, like, I don't know, at the bowling alley with your friends. Like, that doesn't really make sense. So kind of, you know, show some personality, bring some of, you know, how you see the world, what you're interested in, what you're drawn to. But again, remember that, like, these are clients who are looking at it. So, or potential people that you want to be your clients. So yeah, try to get it to, like, tie in somehow to the work that you're creating, so that you're basically sort of building a through line, right? Of like who you are as a person, the work that you create. Like, show us why the work that you create is the way that it is.
I like
you
that.
can also show how, you know, some of the personal things you do can be beneficial to them as a client. So if you travel a lot, you know, you speak different languages, you have rock climbing skills, those things can be very interesting to clients.
Very good point.
Yeah.
I think we all are agreeing. We are agreeing on this stuff.
Yeah.
So Rep Mary Dale, a big Leo, texted me how she sees this after our Clubhouse discussion. Sometimes the clients having a sense of who you are could really break a tie between equally beautiful portfolios and almost identical bids and get you the job.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. She says spaces for this are Instagram stories and, most importantly, your bio. Try a voiceover, a slideshow of your work. So do a voiceover over the slideshow of your work. Get some behind the scenes of you on set. Showcase that in a highlight reel. I love that idea. The most important thing, that no matter what you choose to do, it must be authentic. Push yourself, but still know yourself. Mm-hmm. Mary, if you're out there, drop the mic. I keep saying that, but I mean it.
I will say one thing that really bugs me a lot is when people, and it's not even always, sometimes it's industry related, sometimes it's about their personal life, but bringing negativity to Instagram can really turn people off. I've seen posts before where people are complaining about something in the industry, or it's sort of like, you know, it starts to anyone reading this, and then they, like, kind of going off about something, and you're like, okay, I'm sure that some people are going to read that and they're not going to find it to be aggressive, but to me, it always feels aggressive. And I know that if I were a potential client, I would just be so turned off by that person that I wouldn't want to hire them. Mm. So think of that as well. Like, let's keep everything, like, pleasant, you know, like, we need to hear all of your thoughts about the state of the industry, or this person who cut you off in traffic, you know, whatever it is that you're complaining about, that can probably go somewhere else, or to a private list of people.
Your psychologist.
Yeah. I've seen photographers post about how they lost everything on their hard drive, and I'm like, no, you don't want your clients to read that.
Oh yeah.
That's for the close friends list. Like, keep it to a safe group. Don't blast that to the world.
And the thing about it is, Instagram is generally mostly positive. So when that one nugget of negativity comes up, it really stands out quite a bit. And I've witnessed that myself, Julie. Yeah. I've witnessed that myself.
It just always rubs me the wrong. It's like, you might be right. Like, I think you're making a valid point, but, you know, I don't want to be here for this monologue.
My photographers, Sean and John, they have their work Instagram, and they have a lot of stories, and then their own personal. And that's one way. If you want to rant about some things, which are totally understandable, maybe it's a personal site.
Yeah.
As you were saying, your own list of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We do have a question from Judy. She says, what's an important social strategy we should consider? Social strategy. Okay, which platforms are most authentic, most personal, most useful to us? To me, that's Instagram.
And LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. I know Amy has a lot to say about LinkedIn.
Get on LinkedIn.
But we're not going there. You have to go back to other webinars.
Find me on LinkedIn later.
Right. How do you suggest we truly stand out from our competitors? I think that's the same. It's be yourself. Do you agree?
Yes.
Be yourself. And also that would be the same advice for your entire portfolio, right? Because you're sharing the work that's in your portfolio. So be your own photographer.
I was re-listening to our episode 14 on marketing, and Amy, you said this quick tip that I want to bring up again because it was so juicy, as you say, it's the golden nugget. You said, if you click like and comment on someone's Instagram feed, you'll then show up on their feed if they are following you.
Yes. So, and who knows if the algorithm has changed since 5 seconds ago, but before you go to post something new, go check in with all of those people who you really want to be seeing your content and engage with their content. That way, if they have alerts set up, it'll say, oh, Amy just liked your photo. And then, their eyes will go to Instagram, and then you post, and they're more likely to see your posts because you're now engaging with each other.
Ooh.
So good. I started doing that.
That's a golden nugget.
You told me to.
Yeah. Okay.
What, Hugh? What'd you say, Hugh?
I said it's a golden nugget.
Golden nugget, right?
Really golden nugget.
So one of our last topics before we get into our lightning round questions is marketing attitudes. And I wonder if you two get this question a lot because, well, I'll just read the question. I'm not working a lot right now, so I am not sure what to put out there for my marketing. What should I be showing?
You should be doing test shoots or working on a personal project so that you have content. And we actually talked about this a little bit in the last episode. So whoever asked that question should check that one out if they haven't already. Right. But that's one of the benefits of having a marketing calendar is that you know what to look forward to. You can plan and say, okay, well, I don't really have anything new right now. That means that this week I need to take some photos. I need to work on a test, contribute to this project that I've been working on for a year, this personal project, and build something that you can share.
I can't advocate for that enough, because if there's anything you should be pouring your money into, it's not a source book, it's not a portal to advertise, it's doing the personal work. Because you're going to benefit. For me, it's personal because it's like and I feel good about it. Then I put that energy out. We've talked about this before, right?
Yeah, we talked about your show last time.
Yeah, I mean, but still, it's just that energy behind the words that you choose on your Instagram post. It's showing the personal work that you're so excited about is really going to be so beneficial, more beneficial than buying a page on the workbook or whatever. I think personally,
it is so much harder when you feel like you don't have something to say or show. Like really, yes. When I look for my photographers who I rep, give me something to say, give me something to show. That makes it easier. That's what people want to hear. But there is this thing, people feel bashful. I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to say I don't want to salesy, And I was on a Clubhouse with Matthew Young of Art of Freelance, and I want to read what he said. I thought it was brilliant. One thing I try to remind myself is that people we are marketing our work to, the art producers, photo editors, creative directors, brand managers, etc. It's these people's jobs to discover new photographers, to know who is making what and who might be good for which project, etc. So I try to remind myself / convince myself, LOL, myself that I'm actually doing a favor for them. I'm sharing my work. They want to know what I'm up to, what new work I'm making and the clients I'm working for, what personal photos I'm making, what unique problems that I'm best at solving. That's brilliant. Like we got to convince ourselves it's okay.
Yeah, it's their job.
What, Hugh?
It's their job.
It's their job.
Their job. Mm-hmm. And because that was a switch for me. It's like, I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to impose, but no, they are looking. They're looking, and you're just offering what they're looking for, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you're
Definitely.
saving them from having to put time and energy into finding a new photographer if you just put your work in front of them.
Yeah. You're doing them a disservice by not showing them your work. And this comes up for all of my photographers, and it always comes down to a feeling of worthiness. And I would challenge anyone who's having these thoughts about, should I post this? Is it good enough? Am I bothering someone?
Right.
Take a piece of paper and fold it in half, long ways, and on one side write down all these fears, doubts, get them all out of your head, and then on the other side write the opposite of that thing. So what if that's exactly what they're looking for right now? What if, best case scenario, get out of your head with all these doubts. That's our natural default, evolutionary. But what if, best case scenario, and you don't have to please all of the people all the time. If your photo doesn't resonate, if it doesn't get the likes you want, you can always take it down. Nobody is going to blacklist you for one bad photo.
Right. Or saying the wrong thing. We're awkward.
Yeah.
People understand it too. There's a lot of compassion on their end. They know we feel a little weird, and we're trying not to be salesy, but really we're there to sell.
But also, to that note of having it sound salesy, when you're trying to think of your caption, ask yourself, how would you describe this thing to your best friend? And that may help you write it more authentically.
Oh, I like that.
Great. That's a great tool.
Like how you would just say it.
Mm-hmm.
This was so fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes. I want to move into our lightning round questions. We have about 10 more minutes. Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Hugh, I have one for you here, okay? It's from Susan T. How thematically focused should one's portfolio be before trying to approach reps? And when is it time to find a rep? Any advice for her, Hugh?
Yes, I think when you're too busy to manage all that you need to do, if you're too busy with work, that's when you should find a rep. I think first of all, though, you need to go through wear every hat in your business and experience it for yourself first. That includes marketing, SEOs, Instagram, all that, billing, the first creative call, all of that first, so that you can clearly understand what your expectations are from your agent. That would be my advice for that. Anybody else want to chime in on that?
I like it. I'm just going to move on. That was a great answer. Nikki asks us, what would be the top items to have in your marketing strategy as a food photographer? My answer, SEO. As a food photographer, you are so Googleable.
SEO and blogs. Food photographers really well with blogs because people love hearing about food, looking at food, hearing about a restaurant, a new chef, things like that. You have a lot
and that can tie into SEO.
It does, yeah.
Completely.
Because the blogs is what SEO will pick up on.
Yeah, recipes and everything else too, right?
Another part of that question from Nikki is, do you agree on having a specific niche, food photography, etc.?
Yes.
That's always helpful. It's not always necessary to be super niche, but it's definitely helpful. People are looking for experts.
I think focus on your strengths. If you like to do portraiture and you're really good at it, and yet you can do food really well, there's nothing wrong with dividing your portfolio up like that. I don't think.
Yeah, your niche doesn't have to be just one thing. But I think we've said before, like more than 3, and you're probably spreading yourself a little bit thin. But yeah, it doesn't have to just be one category that you shoot, but the overall style should be consistent. It should all look like it came from the same photographer.
Yes. I always see it as it's that 2 or 3 second rule. that I always talk about is clients have 3 seconds. So you don't want to show too much that they're not even going to remember you. You want to be able to be remembered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah. Okay. Julie, I see on your site, you help photographers with printed or digital portfolio edit. And that got me thinking, and I asked this question to myself about physical, actual portfolio books. Is that something we should start thinking about again?
I think that goes this, I mean, it's the same with printed promos, right? Are people doing,
right?
Are they in their offices yet? Are we doing in-person meetings? I mean, if you have a bunch of meetings lined up and you need a book, then absolutely put one together. But I think right now that probably shouldn't be the top of anyone's priority list. But it is helpful. You know, we should all be doing digital portfolio reviews for sure. So if you can get those, then definitely putting together a PDF for that would be great. And, you know, at some point we are going to want those printed portfolios back. So think of it as something that you should have at some point, but
someday.
Yeah, it's not going to be the most urgent.
No.
I want to hear from the people in the audience. Have you in the past year sent print mailers? Have you shown a printed book? I want to hear what the audience has to say about that. Because some of my clients have been sending print, have been asking for addresses.
Yeah, I know some people who sent some out, but I don't think had a great response.
Well, a lot of people are still home too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I personally, myself, I don't like it. When they send me, I'm like, how did they get my home address? That just feels creepy.
That's kind of weird. Yeah.
We're getting some answers there, but I'm going to ask this next question, then we can come back to that, unless you want to answer.
No, I'm seeing their responses though.
Hugh, you and I received these questions on Instagram Live last week.
Mm-hmm.
How do I relaunch my established photography brand if relocating to a new city, which is filled with established photographers in a tight-knit community like Portland?
Well, I don't know. I kind of think you shouldn't be thinking so small. You know, I think it's national, it's global these days. So I personally like to think of myself as a nomad type of photographer. I can live wherever I want to and practice where I want to, but my audience is more national and global. So I don't know, unless that person is going after local business, then that's a different circumstance. But I hope that's helpful.
Sounds good to me. Amy?
Go make friends. Go be curious about what other people are doing. Go make other people feel good. Go rub some egos. It's just like, what would you do if you were just there and wanting to make friends? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Go make some friends. Yeah.
Go make some
Very
friends.
simple. Julie, do you have any thoughts on that?
I would agree with you, Hugh. When this question comes up with my clients, my advice is just to be marketing to a national audience instead of a local audience, and just kind of hoping that, not hoping, but expecting that local clients are going to find you when you are marketing to a national audience anyway. So just aim for the top, and then that way it doesn't matter where you live.
Absolutely.
Well, we do have some global viewers too. So this also came in from Eric Yip. How to navigate in a smaller, less global market like Australia? More competition? COVID times require some local focus. So opposite kind of what you said, perhaps it's temporary.
Yeah, I assume he just means without being able to travel for shoots.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, just using the same marketing practices, but only to people in your region, probably trying to reach out more one-on-one with people to do those direct emails that we've talked about in other episodes, to sort of solidify yourself in their mind, maybe asking for a Zoom meeting or something like that. Hopefully that doesn't last forever. But yeah, with just the same marketing practices you would use, but focusing on that local audience and with making a direct connection with people more.
Well, I go back to what we originally were doing at the beginning of the pandemic. Capability emails, talking about what your capabilities are and what you're able to provide, what services you can. Did you guys catch that, or did I
We missed the very beginning, but I think you came.
Yeah, it's just about, does that speak to them? I mean, about the capabilities, email that people were putting out at the beginning of the pandemic saying, these are what I can do for you under quarantine or under these circumstances too. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can't hurt.
Yeah.
Maybe you try everything and you see what works. We have this question. Let's see. Caitlin Kenny, she said, is there ever an indication of when, if you should stop sending marketing to a potential client? At what point am I just spam?
I love this question. I love this quote that I got because I interviewed an agent from Altered Agency. Her name's Annie Campbell. It's a fashion, photography, and stylist agency. And she said, I don't stop until someone tells me to stop. And I love that. Keep going.
I also love the quote, your work is spam to somebody. So there's never going to be a world where everyone wants to see it. But if they really don't, they will just ask you to stop. And especially with email marketing, like, that's why we have an unsubscribe button to the newsletters. If someone gives you that signal, you can kind of take that as a soft warning that they probably don't want to hear from you. But yeah, people are going to be direct. I don't think anyone's going to sit there and say, oh, there's nothing I can do. They sent me this email. Like, they can respond and let you know they're not interested.
Yeah, if I get an unsubscribe, I just take them off my list. I let it go because there's plenty of other people out there. Sorry for interrupting.
No. I got my cat on my lap. You can't see. He's very large.
Oh.
Yeah, and a lot of it is timing. So if someone might get annoyed one day or not notice it and you don't know it, next week or next month, it might work like they've never seen your name before. I always say, if they close the door, find a window. That's my theory.
Well, that bodes to that question that Amy received, about, do I, if someone did not click on my email, do I resend that to them? And then, what do I do with those people that did click through? If I can respond to that particular question, if you want to, do we have it in front of us?
Yeah, let me read the whole thing. I just sent my first quarterly email to a bunch of contacts in the industry. I'm pleased, shocked at the amount of opens it's gotten and unsure what to do next. Most have opened my email once or twice, but there are a handful who have opened it 4 times. A couple have opened it 20 times. For those that have opened my email well over a few times, should I add them on social media and LinkedIn? For those that didn't open my email at all, should I resend it on a different day and time?
Well, I can just, mirror what Amy was saying, that don't give up, just keep going. And I think it's those people that actually click through or open, that is low-lying fruit. You've got their attention, follow through. Maybe what I do is I send personal emails, give it some time, maybe 2 months or so, send personal emails. This is what I'm working on. This is how I did it. Have a great day. I don't need to tell them that I'm looking for work. They already know that. But I would not go back and resend, the email to those that did not click through. I would keep them on my list, but just send them new material.
What about those who didn't open it?
I wouldn't resend it because maybe I don't know. What do you guys think, Amy and Julie?
That's like in just sort of broader marketing, that's what a lot of companies will do. If an email isn't opened, it's just automatically, some services, like I think MailChimp even offers it, it'll just automatically resend that email to them after like a week or so. A lot of people, even if they don't open the email, it might be in a newsletter folder. I know that I do that. I don't open every single newsletter, but they go into a folder to refer to later. Also, part of what is good about email marketing is that just getting your name in someone's inbox is still a win, because you're still building that sense of name recognition that you want from people. So I wouldn't really think about it too much. I would just kind of focus on the people who had opened the email. The other people on the list, like just send them the next one, you know, just like keep them on the list. They didn't unsubscribe, but yeah, focus on the people who have expressed interest, which is the people who clicked.
Yeah.
And what do you think about this opening 20 times? I see that sometimes myself. I'm not sure what to think of that.
I'm just so skeptical. Like, I just don't know a world where that many people are opening an email that many times. Like, I don't know of any email that I've opened 20 times.
Right.
Doesn't really happen. So I do have some skepticism. I don't know if there's something happening there with the analytics or like the way that the data is coming into, you know, your MailChimp or Flowdesk or something. I would just assume every open is one open. Let's just kind of assume that.
Yeah, 20 opens doesn't mean that they double clicked and looked at your entire email that many times. It could be that they were just scrolling down their email box and when they went past it, that counted as another open. So it doesn't mean that they're obsessed with you, but you can pretend like it's
character syndrome, right?
Yeah.
There is a difference between clicks and opens.
Yes.
So clicks, that's a whole other issue we're not getting into here, but open. And the other question here was LinkedIn and other social media. Should I go connect with them if they opened it? And timing might really help with that. They just saw your name, do it soon.
Yeah, I think you should have a full strategy from, you know, newsletter, like what comes after the newsletter. If they click through, then you do a direct email and then you follow up every X number of weeks or months and decide at what point you're going to ask to connect on LinkedIn or follow them on Instagram. But yes to all of the things in good timing.
Mm-hmm. And a CRM can help you with that.
Yeah. So can I ask you all, how long do you wait? So you send out the e-blast, you get your clicks or opens, you've got this new list, and then when do you follow through? Is it weeks? Is it months? Or is it days?
I do it right away.
You do?
I jump on it.
And how do you approach them?
Depends if I already know them or not. But LinkedIn, I meet, if I don't know them, I go to LinkedIn. I try to get their Instagram handle because their email, in my opinion, is going to change someday. But their Instagram, if I can get them to follow me on Instagram, that's always my goal.
That's great.
Yeah, I always tell people to try to get connect for that same reason, to connect on LinkedIn, because that way you'll always see where they're working. So if they're at an agency or, you know, in-house somewhere, you'll always know that.
That's such a great point, to be connected with them on multiple places. Because I posted yesterday, I sent out a newsletter yesterday, and then I immediately went to Instagram to be like, hey, everyone, check your email. Because it's like, you're fighting the Instagram algorithm, which is why you have a newsletter, but then you're fighting the junk mail spam filter. So you got to go over to Instagram. So yeah, as many places as you can be connecting with your audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Our final lightning round question, our Q&A. This is a biggie, and I know a lot of you are asking this. This is from Lou Mora, great photographer. Thoughts on TikTok versus Instagram? And I asked Rainey, SternRep's social media guru, for her response on this one. TikTok is where Gen Z is really living these days, which in turn makes it an important place for corporations to advertise, which in turn is where your images might be needed. Don't you want to know your market? Because it is your market if you're getting hired for these jobs. So maybe you're not making dance videos and duetting with celebrities, but understanding where and how the imagery is skewing for advertising seems essential. So at the very least, I'd say be aware of TikTok and its trends, so you are knowing what's going on in our world. And if you're up for it, dip your toes in, try out a new form of visual creativity, and really, truly remember there are no rules when it comes to how your social media presence is presented. Just like there are no rules in your art. You don't have to do TikToks. You just have to be yourself. Thank you, Rainey.
Rainey for the mic drop.
Yes.
And we talked about this last time, I think, you know, be aware of what your potential clients are doing on all of the platforms and see how you can fit in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think this did come up last time, but I had one client that I was working with who said that I always ask people on our first call, like, where are your clients finding you right now? And she said TikTok. That was where most of her clients found her, because she made this really cool still life imagery that the setup of it was really interesting. The way that she did it was interesting. And so she would post like BTS videos, and like actual clients, not just photographers, but clients were finding her that way. And that was her main form of marketing, TikTok.
Yeah, it's not for the Gen Zs anymore either. I hear doctors are showing 15-second procedures, and they're monetizing those, and they're making money off of them. So
yeah. Something
Okay.
about my rep gut instincts say TikTok, like something about it. I don't even know yet how to describe it, explain it, but something's there. We got to pay attention to it.
I keep hearing about it.
So any final comments or words of wisdom before we wrap this up, ladies or gentlemen? We covered everything, huh? We did it.
Yeah. God, is that a first?
We've never had the satisfaction of getting through the list.
I know, right? Well, this was half of our last one.
Yeah.
Our last episode.
That's
Before
true.
we get to my really personal final question and our wrap chat, which you all should stick around for, we have two special deals for you. One is from APA and one is from Amy. Hugh, you want to start with the member benefits? What's going on?
Yes, member benefits. I mean, I'm very happy to announce for new members, we're going to give you a 20% discount. Patty is going to ask on the chat for your email. She's going to put her email on there. Reach out to her, and you're going to get a code, 20% off your first year. APA is all about advocacy. We give you presentations like this. The virtual portfolio review is becoming legendary. I know someone that has gone through multiple portfolio reviews, and this one's the best one, he says. Hopefully we'll be having some in-person events coming up, but we're all here about you. We spend a lot of time in our board meetings coming up with ways to improve and give you what you need. And that's what we're all about. And there's discounts, vendor discounts, and all sorts of stuff. So there we go. And anyway, you can check out the website to know more.
One that really also I like the benefit of legal referrals. That's so helpful. And professional insurance plans. This is the kind of stuff you need a community to help you with.
Yeah.
So Amy, what is this? What discount, what benefit, what are we getting here from you?
So for anyone who emails Patty will give you 50% off of my commercial photography marketing masterclass. So reach out to Patty. And if you're already an APA member, you can just reach out to me directly for this week only. I will give you 50% off as a thank you for being a part of APA. You can message me on Instagram or send me an email. I'll put that.
Awesome. Well worth your time, people.
Yeah.
So our final question today, which is always personal in nature, because that's who I am, is about having this feeling lately that came up in our IG live last week, Hugh. How have we grown from this shift in our business due to COVID, and how is that affecting our lives? Like, do you guys feel a little different from this last year and a half? How is it really like changing something for you? Go, Hugh. Go, Hugh.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
I'm happy to share this. I'm like, it's almost like I don't care anymore. I'm just going to do what I love to do. I'm just going to put it out there and just share what my heart's content is. You know, as far as like who's looking at it, who do I need to go after? It just doesn't seem to care anymore. I'm just at this place right now because you know, and the reason why is because I'm just so grateful that I'm here and I'm alive and I'm actually talking right now compared to what a lot of people are going through. And it's just like, enough. I want to be happy, and I just want to do what makes me happy and share what makes me happy. So that's for me. Anybody else want to chime in on that?
Q, that was so sweet. I loved that. Yeah, I mean, I made a big move, physically moved across the country last year. So like everything, my environment changed, which was great. And obviously with everything going on in the world. I think similarly, I love this idea of just like not caring anymore, which definitely I would say that has been coming through. But I think focusing so much more, and I guess I know this maybe is something a lot of people are saying, but focusing a lot more on connection, really sort of valuing relationships and spending time with people. And even in business as well, like really just kind of genuinely enjoying connecting with people on a daily basis, you know, as a consultant, I think has been, honestly, it like really got me through COVID, being able to like sit and chat with people in these different areas, hear how everyone's doing, how they staying busy, you know, what new hobbies has everyone adopted. I've just really enjoyed that.
Amy?
I love both of those so much. I think for me, a big one has been trust your instincts. And also everything is changing. And I think we have to pay attention to how we're acting based on the systems that we've been brought up in. Because all of these systems are being challenged and smashed. And we're giving you a lot of advice in these webinars, but if it doesn't resonate with you, you don't need to listen to it. Trust what feels right for you. And if something's not working for you, change it, reinvent it. I mean, we're all having to reinvent ourselves in the way our industries work. Everything's changing, anything's possible, and you don't have to follow the rules. And ask yourself, if you are following rules, ask yourself who created those rules and are they working for you?
Whew, this is good stuff. I agree with all of you. And I feel it myself. I feel more aware or awakened to what's fun for me. And I just have to keep following that fun path. Like my barometer, it now doesn't want to do things that aren't fun. And what I'm really good at with connecting to people and getting better at what we're doing here, it's fun. And that's why and who and how I want to live.
Fun is fun.
Yeah. I mean, if there's anything that's going to fill my heart, it's having fun. You know?
Yeah. And I feel like it's just better. When I put something out there that's really fun for me, it just seems to do well in all the ways to judge if something's doing well.
Yes, because you're putting out that energy. If you're feeling resistance, that's not going to work for you. How can you make it more fun? Your job doesn't have to be hard. Marketing doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to suck.
Damn good. I hope everyone needs to hear this. So we're out of time for today. Thank you, Amy and Julie. I know, right? So make sure to follow AskSternRep and APA LA on Instagram and the new AskSternRep.com. Join the APA LA mailing list for so much more good info. And thank you both. Stay on with us for Hugh and I. We're gonna talk about these two behind their back. That's really good.
We're gonna listen in.
Listen. So bye for now, and I hope to talk to you sometime soon.
Thank you for having us. Do we have to leave? Can Patty move us to the audience?
Oh,
is that possible?
If possible.
That means we can't talk behind their back.
I know.
We're
Come on, get out of here.
It's their time to gossip about us.
Julie, we should go somewhere and start our own.
Get a separate room. Yeah, everyone who wants to hear us talk about YouTube.
Go on Clubhouse.
Instagram Live or Clubhouse, yeah.
Go to Clubhouse.
Yeah, really. I'll meet
you there.
Thanks for having us. And, sign up for Julie and I both have newsletters, so stay in touch with us.
Yes.
Instagram, everything. LinkedIn. We're there.
All of it. Smorgasbord. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, lovely. Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
I really mean it, Hugh, when I say thank you to them.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I would have done this last year without talking to them regularly on this.
They're on the front lines, man. They are that's the great part about them. They're just, you know, they understand the market, and then they're there to coach. And
yeah,
and that's just so supportive. And they show that when they come on to this webinar. They're just this support system, and that's just their nature. So that's why I think everyone gets so much out of it, including me. You know, I'm the first that gets so much out of it.
Me too. I'm the second or first.
Yeah. So yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
This topic of marketing, like maybe this just needs to be a marketing, I don't know. There's so much to this, and photographers have to do it. We have to stay up on this stuff.
Yeah, I think that's where I find most of my questions about the industry are around marketing. You know, I know how to perform in front of on a shoot. I know how to do it remotely now. But this stuff, because everything is changing all the time.
Right. We got to keep up with it.
I mean, you know, Amy's commenting, you know, the algorithms, they may change in 5 seconds on Instagram. I mean, that's just like right there, you know, it's constantly shifting and moving. So I think that's something we should be really focusing on, you know?
Yeah. I really liked hearing about the dashes. So your images, it's not just the words on your website to get the SEO.
Mm-hmm.
It's the images.
Yeah.
Should be filed or named, titled with dashes, and not called shot of salad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But food photographer dash Dallas, like the things you want people looking you up for.
That's right. That's right. That sounds like a lot of work, but I think that is like an investment. You know, you're building that foundation that is going to, you know, just generate more and more, like a snowball effect. I think it's time well spent.
I agree.
Yeah.
Stephen, I just saw you. I got to open up my chat. What's bingo?
I think he's commenting on something that either one of us had just said, and I'm sure he'll comment on that in a second.
A lot on here.
Yeah.
Ooh, Amy's on the chat. What? Wow. There were several, I kept taking some notes for things I was like, oh, that's good. Positive clicks. I'm not sure my handwriting is. Amy said Instagram hashtags. I didn't really think of that for SEO.
Yeah.
To be found.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's so many ways to be findable. Do you find that people are just finding you and you're like, how did they find me? I didn't know this person.
I get asked that a lot. I mean, especially with this exhibit that, you know, came out of the blue, right? But I don't know the answer to that. I don't know where, you know, but I think for me, I've been in the industry for a long time, so they can find me a lot of different places. But I think for those that are starting out, yes, to get that information about where did you find me, I think that's super important.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with asking that question at all.
But I got to say, because I ask all the time, they don't really know. One person told another person. They just end up talking. These are industry people. They have a community.
And when they can say to you, I don't really know, that means you're doing your job, right? Because you're out there in multiple places. And, you know, so I think that's a good, you know, identifier. That's
a good point. Sometimes it's not bad that they don't know.
Right. You know?
Yeah. Gosh, this has been good.
Yeah. So good. So good. So was there anything else that stuck out to you?
Yes, but I can't read my handwriting.
I want to find out about HubSpot.
Yeah.
I want to find out about that. I wrote that down. That was mine.
Yeah. Julie felt very like that. It's HubSpot. So we got to look into that.
I'm going to look into that.
Yeah.
So that was super helpful. And I'm going to be doing more studying on SEOs. I really am intrigued by this.
And I don't know about you, but I feel like you could do TikTok in your way.
Yes, I'm warming up to the idea.
I feel like just because the style of your work, you could put that into how you set it up, your format, or how you show it. Could just be something relatable to your work.
I think showing process would be really advantageous on TikTok. I think people are very curious about working process, you know? So that's where I can see an advantage of that. So,
I think you should do it.
I appreciate that.
I think everyone should.
I did my first IG live last week, which really wasn't live. I recorded it because there was too many interruptions I was talking about my process for my plastic wave series. So I had to edit it together, and I found a thing called Live Pigeon, I guess, where there's some way they've managed to get into Instagram Live, but show pre-recorded videos. So that's another way of doing it.
Live Pigeon.
A Live Pigeon, yeah. Yeah. But yes, I think people are super curious about behind the scenes. That's on my feed, that's what they eat up. You know? Yeah. On my feed, that's what
me too, on Reels.
And is Reels only 15 seconds long?
Depends on your account, but should be 30, at least 30.
30 minutes?
30 seconds.
30 seconds, okay. 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Up to 1 minute now for Reels.
Up to 1 minute, but it depends which. Like my AskSternRep, I have 30 seconds. My SternRep, I have a minute.
Okay. All right. Cool. I think that's super helpful.
Yeah.
You know, my videos are 4 minutes long because
are what 4 minutes?
4 minutes. Yeah. I gotta condense it down somehow, or divide the video up into 1 minute sections.
Oh yeah. Part one, part two.
Part one. Yeah.
Stage one, stage two.
Yeah. It's good.
Well, this has been fantastic.
Yeah. Wonderful.
I love it. And I'm so happy you're all here. This is so fun talking to you all. I wish we could actually be together, but.
And I want to say special thanks to Patty. Does she want to come out and play with us for a minute?
Patty, come on up here.
Come on.
We want your thoughts on all this.
We still have 36 people. There she is.
She looks thrilled.
This is the woman.
Oh, I was not on. I was still, you saw me, but they didn't see me. It was another fabulous one. It's just, wow. Talk about golden nuggets.
Yeah. A lot came up. It felt very focused and good stuff Yeah.
And
Fernando Guerrero says, thanks, Patty.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. You're welcome. It's just, again, the four of you are just, it just works, and it's easy. It's user-friendly the way you're talking. It's not over everyone's head. I mean, Julie was going on about SEO. It's all understandable and
relatable.
Relatable. Yeah,
it was very interesting to me. I kept thinking, oh yes, I need to go to look at my new notes. Like I got so into the conversation I was really listening. Sometimes it's hard to juggle both.
Yeah, they're very lovely to come out here and play with us, so appreciated.
Very.
And we appreciate the attendees for coming out and playing with us.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So appreciate it. Okay.
That's it.
We'll wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Thanks for being here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Happy Halloween, everyone. Okay.
Okay. Oh, show your shirt, Hugh. What's on there?
Right. Little skulls and crossbones. Can everyone
for Halloween?
See that? There we go.
In the spirit.
Such a fashion statement, Hugh.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.